The three pillars of vision here at Base Church is to build a healthy local church, to see the renewal of the church in Ontario, and to send out thousands of Christians with a Christian worldview out of academic institutions. Today, we're talking about education. And being committed to building the future of education right out of our location here in the Waterloo region that will actually expand to the entire province. Now, in 2022, I took a small group of leaders from what was and is our base city and our base university districts. It was the lead team for those locations before we went through the merge. Now, when I took this small group to Collingwood, we went there to envision what the future of the church might look like. During our time there, we did a bunch of group activities, a bunch of roundtable discussions. We had whiteboards, chart papers, computers open. And when we left, there was a bit of dissatisfaction in our souls. We didn't get as far on the vision as we hoped to. In fact, when we left Collingwood at the end of that visioning time, there was only one thing written on the whiteboard, and that thing was education. But attached to that word of education was this small dream that started to bud and that we were very confident in, that in 30, maybe 50 years, we would be a part of starting a Bible college. At this point, Base City and Base University District had nothing to do with education. And we thought, can you believe, or could you imagine in 50 years, maybe even 30, God allowing us to start a Bible college? Wouldn't you know, but only a couple of months later, after searching for a location to meet in for our Base City location, the local Bible college would contact us and offer to sell their property to us as a church. After agreeing to buy that property, which our Base City location now meets at, only a couple of months later, we would actually take on leadership of the Bible college because it was set to actually close down after not realizing its full financial picture. Now here you go, only 6 months after writing a dream on a board, believing that maybe 50, maybe 30 years down the road, we'd be involved in educating people with a Christian worldview. Wouldn't you know, only 6 months later, we would be responsible for Emmanuel Bible College right here in the Waterloo region.
If we want to see God do the things into the future that we've seen him do in the past, I think it's going to take some of the same things we did at first. A commitment to Christian education, a commitment to build, a determination that no matter what happens, we're going to give the same way today that we did back then, to not have our eyes glaze over when we hear big numbers like, this is going to take $6 million to build the school wing here. I mean, even if you amortize that right now, we're talking about a lot more money, right? Think about those early days of buying this property we still sit in. Like, people had to sacrifice. We don't even know all their names. We can't even bring up all their names right here, but thank God they did it.
There were many that gave sacrificially, sold properties, gave up investments, committed to monthly giving, that volunteered. There's early stories of farmers that would bring food here, vegetables and a side of beef, and to help to feed the students. The story is a story of sacrifice and of commitment and people believing in what was being built.
It makes me think too, it's always like a death to self that paves a way for something else to come alive. Like a death is required, whether it's like martyrdom or, in our present age, like a death to selfish ambition, selfish desire, a death to the comfort that we all just want to hang on to. It's that death that actually makes way to something else much greater, much eternal, that kingdom to come alive. But that coming alive doesn't happen until there's like a death to what needs to die. And can you imagine if like Canada could come to a point where we are actually being known as the nation that you should see what Canadians are giving up for the sake of the church. You should see how they're living. Can you imagine like what a vision that really, that's what we're talking about today. whether it's, Christian education, healthy local churches. It's like, you should see how Canada is dying to self for the sake of the gospel.
When we think about Christian education and the opportunities that God has placed in our hands, not just EBC, but also Base Christian School, which we renamed this past year after an incredible legacy of being Koinonia Christian Academy over 3 decades of faithful stewardship of this K-8 school. When we think about what God has placed in our hands, I think about the responsibility we have in educating students that will graduate from our schools. We know that Jesus is the Lord over education. We know this because in John 1, it says that he is the Word and the Word was with God. That word is logos, meaning logic. Jesus is the logic, the wisdom behind all creation. We have a responsibility to steward the students that come to our schools. We know that education is not just about information, but it's also about formation. We have to partner with others in the formation of children and college students to send them out into a world that is very dark with the light of Christ in them. We know that it's not the state's responsibility to form our children and to form our college students. It's the church's responsibility. And by the way, the church has always taken responsibility to educate students in any place it found itself in. If we consider the many universities that find themselves in Ontario today, many owe their origins to Christian organizations, to churches. We think about the University of Toronto that grew out of King's College, that was founded as an explicitly Anglican institution. We think about Queen's University, founded in 1841 by Presbyterians in Upper Canada to educate ministers and youth. We think about Western University, which began in 1878 as an outgrowth of Huron College, the Anglican Theological College in London. We think about University of Ottawa, which began as the College of Bytown, founded by the Oblates of Mary Immaculate as a bilingual Catholic college. We think about McMaster University, founded in 1887 as a Baptist university. Its first faculties were arts and theology. We think about the University of Windsor. Its direct predecessor was Assumption College, a Catholic institution founded in 1857. I could go on and on and on, but I'll give you one more. We think about Wilfrid Laurier University, which traces its roots to the Evangelical Lutheran Seminary in Waterloo, later becoming the Waterloo Lutheran University. When it became further secularized, that's where we turned the WLU into Wilfrid Laurier University. You see, it's always been on the hearts of Christians to ensure that the world that we live in not only receives accurate information about the world, but also accurate formation in the types of lives that it produces. Now, we understand that every educational institution, at its very foundation, believes things philosophically, ideologically, and even theologically. And many of the schools represented in Ontario do not have an interest in sending people out with a Christian worldview, which is odd because a Christian worldview is the logos that holds the whole world together, the logos of Jesus Christ. It is our goal through Emmanuel Bible College and Base Christian School that we would send out thousands into the marketplace and into ministry with the light of Jesus Christ shining so bright that it expels the darkness no matter where it goes.
Christian education always existed, but I feel like now we live in the time where I feel like maybe Christian education existed for such a time like this.
Yeah.
I like to use the term Christ-centered education
Yeah.
because I believe there are 2 different types of education, Christ-centered or men-centered.
Yeah.
Is the education about just raising selfish men, or is it really about glorifying God? I believe it really takes the entire community to build that education to raise children together. I'm just reminded of Exodus chapter 10 when Moses was challenged by Pharaoh. Mm-hmm. You guys can leave, but leave children here. And then Pharaoh said, you can take your children, but leave your resource and offerings here. when you're like, this is my 14th year being Christian education, and always the struggle is the resource. There's so much needs, and this is the time for the season for Christian education, but we're not funded, and sometimes that becomes a challenge. But I feel like it's really God's wisdom to form the community together with all the resource, with all the men and women and children together, to walk this journey together to see what God can do. And we know that the end of this battle is the victory.
Yes.
But yes, it's such an important season that we're in at this moment.
Now, when I think about the future expansion of Base Christian schools, I think about the planting that we want to do all across Ontario, and that there are many, many towns and cities in Ontario that need more Christian schools. We need more Christian schools, elementary Christian schools, right here in the Waterloo region. But everywhere we go, there's going to be a need for a Christian school. When it comes to Emmanuel Bible College, I know that at some point we are going to outgrow the current facilities of Emmanuel Bible College, the same way they did before they moved onto the property that it currently finds itself. Many of you might not know, but the first location of EBC in our city is where Center in the Square currently sits. Let's imagine bigger for where Emmanuel Bible College could go. That's why we talk about expanding the property here at Bloomingdale and buying property in the mind map of students right here in Waterloo. We don't know where the future of the college expands to. We just know that God is calling us in this direction.
And you know what's special about our heritage, because we've been around for 3 decades plus, students that I saw grow up in the school have now got kids in the school, and we're even approaching grandkids of original, so that's really cool. When I was in to do a chapel last year, one of the little grade 3 students came up to me and she said, "I'm so-and-so's daughter. Do you remember?" I said, "Oh, I remember your parents when they were an item, like they were sitting close in the computer lab, and I saw the relationship develop in grade 11. And here's their daughter, and Mr. Champion." It was so special.
And this comes back though to what you said earlier, but the 3 strands, or the 3 cords cannot be broken. And Ashley, you're talking about, I want the Holy Spirit in my kids' school. And I go, well, we want it in our home. We want it in our church. In school, kids spend more time in school than at church and at home. School is the number one place, consistent place kids spend time outside of our house if you don't do anything.
Deuteronomy 6, the imperative there is that impress these words on your children. Talk to them when you sit at home, and when you walk along the road, and when you lie down, when you get up. Write them on the door frames of your heart, on the door frames of your house, and on your gates. And the gates speaks to the public arena, the institutions. And so as a school, Christian education, I used to love making posters, the themes of the years, words all over the halls. But it's not just what we're putting on the door frames in the school, it's the living curriculum. And I used to put such value in that, living curriculum being the teachers that are imparting their life to the students. It's not just content, it's modeling and impressing the students with a life that's loves the Lord with all their heart, their mind, their soul, and their strengths.
Now, with dreams as big as this, I can often find myself going, God, give me a sign you're still in this. And when I think like that, I'm encouraged by an early story in Emmanuel Bible College's history. Reverend Isaac Brubaker was praying the same prayer. God, if you're in this dream to start a Bible college, then send somebody today with the donation that will encourage me to continue on with this dream. Wouldn't you know it, but his son Elgin would come to him that day with $5. And he took that as a sign that God was encouraging him to continue on. What is $5? Even with inflation, it would only be about $120 today. But $120 when you're praying to God for a sign is a lot more than many thousands. Why? Because it keeps you in the direction of where God is calling you. You know, over the course of those 86 years since that $5 donation, there would be many thousands that would be needed to bring it to the place it is today. And there will be many thousands and hundreds of thousands needed to take Base Christian School and EBC to where God's taking it in the future. But I take it as a sign that as we were in that room wondering, where are you taking us? And thinking we had failed our vision exercise with merely coming out with the hope that we would one day start a Bible college, that only 2 months later we would find ourselves buying a Bible college's property, and 4 months after that taking on leadership of a Bible college. I take it as a sign today that God is saying, continue on the good work that has been started. The 86-year history at Emmanuel Bible College and the over 30-year history at Base Christian School, and keep expanding the knowledge of God in Ontario.
We have a 450 lead pastor graduate deficit in Canada every year out of Bible colleges and universities. Like, we need 600 just to stay even. We're graduating 150, and that's been going on for 8 years. Like, we are a part of the answer to that problem, where churches are going, what do we do? There's a whole leadership pastoral pipeline problem. We get to be a part of that answer.
So the question comes to my mind is like, what does it look like to build and be determined to build? It's like, what do we want our lives to be about? Is it to live a comfortable, successful life, have the house I want, have the things I want? Or do I want to be a part of seeing children raised in a way and educated in a way where they're gonna live, love, and follow Jesus for the rest of their lives? Or do I want to be a part of actually forming pastors to meet the deficit of 450 spots that are open in churches across our nation? Do I want to be a part of that? But it's a choice. And I think it's just so exciting when you say, like, you can be a part of forming pastors for our nation to lead our church forward into renewal. Or you can be a part of hundreds of students actually knowing the Lord personally and then living lives accordingly. I just think there's nothing better to be about. So it's asking that question in my mind and then living according to the answer, you know?
Today, Base Church, we have the opportunity to be committed to building Christ-centered educational institutions that send out thousands of graduates with a Christian worldview, both into the ministry and the marketplace, that will transform our culture for decades to come. Let's not wait on our current leaders to make the change. Let's produce the kind of change we want to see in the province we call home.